So today we're going to look at the brand new SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z Vegeta figure. This is the Super Saiyan Vegeta Awakened Super Saiyan Blood is how they titled it. A regular release priced at $34.99. You cannot go wrong with that. That is the cheapest price for a SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z figure. And they tend to do that whenever they release a figure that they kind of released before. This is the Vegeta 2.0 updated version, I guess. So it's not a 3.0. It's the same exact figure as we gotten before, as the 2.0. So we had the initial original release, which was the 1.0. Then they updated that one. Well, technically they did a premium color version of that one. Then they fully updated it to the 2.0, which is one of the best figures in the entire line, and it became one of the most expensive as well. It was selling for like $200. It was so well done, and I guess they saw that and they're like, okay, let's release him again. And they tend to like to change things up instead of doing straight reissues, although they do straight reissues sometimes. Sometimes they don't, and this time they gave it to us again, but different paint job, different deco here and there. So let's check him out, see how he looks like, see how he compares next to the older releases, and see which one is the best one. So here's the front, here's the side, and then here's the other side right there. On the back side, we get a good look at the figure in different various poses. Now let's go ahead and crack him open. Right off the bat, I can tell the difference is the colors are a little bit more saturated. At least that blue is a lot more saturated than before. And then we have the metallic yellow orange for the hair. And I'm not the biggest fan of that color scheme for the hair, but I'm okay with it being on a re-release of a figure. So since they have already released a figure already with that flat yellow and orange hair that I like, I'm okay with it because I already really own the figure with it looking like that, and I'd prefer to buy it again in a different look with a different paint job. So I'm okay with it. But if this was the only release of this version of Vegeta, then I would be a little bothered by that hair being so metallic. But I know others like the hair being like that, so to each their own. We all have our preferences here and there. If that was the case, I would love for them to just give us the option of swappable heads with different paint colored hairs. But overall, I'm not saying it's ugly, it's not bad. It's just my preference is that flat yellow, flat orange, because it's just more classic looking. It's more and old school anime looking, in my opinion. But this is not ugly by any means. It's definitely better than any of the translucent hair sculpts that like the Monocle Fit does. Those third parties that I really don't like those translucent hair sculpts all that much. But overall, it looks great. This is a good looking Vegeta. It's the best Vegeta figure, armored Vegeta figure out there, re-released, pretty much brought back out to the market so that the people that had a hard time finding him or missed out on him and don't want to spend $200 on it, now you have one for $35, man. You cannot go wrong with that. And with that said, unfortunately, maybe they're starting to cheapen out a little bit. I don't know. This could just be isolated to my figure, but it could be widespread. I'm not sure. Let me know if yours has it too. But this figure has quite a bit of QC issues, paint splotching and scratches here and there right out of the box, and I'm not really accustomed to seeing that from SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z. You will see it here and there every once in a while, but not to this extent. And even so, it's not as terrible, but still, it's something to point out because from far away, you really can't tell, right? You don't really see any issues. But let's take a closer look at him and check out exactly what I am talking about. Alright, so first up we have the face sculpt, and this is the neutral head sculpt that he comes packed in with. Very nicely done. I like it. The paint apps look great. My first nick comes at the top of his head, which is not serious at all. It's a very faint black little nick, but it is a little weird mark that's just sitting there on his head. I'm not sure if acetone will remove it or not. I will attempt it as carefully as I can because damn well if you slip up or if I slip up and hit his hair, then that's a goner right there easily within seconds. So I don't know, I might leave it alone. It's very small and I could just swap it out for one of the other head sculpts. But moving down to the torso, you can see here it's a little messier. Again, the marks aren't super heavy, but it's very noticeable, at least when you look at it up close. So we got some brown paint on the pec armor area. We have a little bit here. You see that little small line, a little bit right there, up here as well. It's all over this area for some reason. It's just a little too messy for my liking. This one should be an easy acetone removal. I think I can remove that just fine. But that is something that I did notice. If I turn him around to the back side of the armor, it looks like there is a little bit of a scratch right there on the bottom side. You can see a little white scratch where some of the paint is scratched off out of the box. And it's not, it's not the cleanest work that they've done. So it seems like the armor area is what suffered the most. Looking or going down to his crotch, there is a black paint mark on his crotch area there for some reason. I don't know where that black paint came from, but it's there. That should hopefully be an easy removal as well. But other than that, let's see what else. I think that is it. That's really what stuck out to me the most. At the very least, I think I can fix the torso, and I should be fine with that. The black mark on the crotch area really doesn't bug me since it's on the edge of it where the shadow hits. Anyway, so it's in the shadow, and you don't really see it. But there you go. For 35 bucks, you have a few issues, at least with this version. Hopefully they're all not widespread. And even so, that, it's not the most serious thing. It's not the end of the world because it's not super bad. It's not like there's a heavy scratch or there's not a heavy paint splotch there, at least on my particular figure. So other than that, it's just paint QC issues. The joints are tight. The joints move just as they're supposed to. So I'm happy about that. So there's your look at Vegeta. I'm really loving the blue. The blue is beautiful. This is the blue that I love for Vegeta. So I'll compare them next to the original release, and you can see that blue was a little bit faded, and next to this one is going to be a drastic difference. But this is a very, very nice blue for this armored Vegeta there. And yeah, there you go. There he is. He comes with two other faceplates, which is one less than the original release, but it's not that serious because you get exactly, what you need. We get the yelling head sculpt right here, and then we get the smirking head sculpt right there. The original release came with another yelling head sculpt that looked just like that, but the only difference was that he was looking to the side with his pupils. That was it. That was the only difference. So really, you're not really missing out too much since you still have an open mouth head sculpt to power up or to attack somebody. So you are missing an head sculpt, but you still get the crossed arms. Here's the crossed arms, and then going back to the QC issues, what I found on the crossed arms is that white paint bleeding onto the blue. That's not the cleanest job ever. So there is that. And if I throw in the original release here, you're going to get a look at how the blue looked like on that one. But here is the original release. Here is the new one right here. This one's a little bit cleaner, but even this one wasn't the cleanest job ever either. And this was years ago. And then look at this. There's some white paint right there. So even back then when this figure, the original one, was like a $50 or $60 figure, it was not $35. It still had paint splotches here and there years ago. So I figured I mentioned that as well. Looking at the original release face sculpt with the yelling head, you can see it right there. And you can also see the beautiful paint job that I like, that I prefer for the hair. That flat yellow with the gradient or the spray of the orange there. And here he is next to the metallic yellow for the hair. Again, both look great, but if I had to pick one, I would definitely go with this one right here. But here's the two yelling head sculpts, and you can see the major differences here is that they added in the wrinkles or the lines on his forehead, under his eyes, and above his eyebrows. Now you can see it faintly right there on this version and right there, but they don't have any on his forehead. They did add it over here on this version. You can see the pupils are different as well, but it is the same face sculpt right there. And then lastly, we have the smirking head, which here's the original release of it. And then here is the new one, and you can see there the differences there. Again, the lines on the forehead, and then the lines underneath the eyes are present on the old one, but not as pronounced as the new one right here. Both have the nice smirk. Less tongue action, or they painted the tongue more so than the teeth, so it looked kind of awkward there. This one seems a little bit better. So more teeth, less tongue. So that's more of a natural smile, and it looks great. And this one actually, if you can look closely, his pupils are looking to the side rather than straight forward like this one right there. So I think that's an improvement. It looks pretty good. All right, so as for his hands, he comes packed in with a pair of fists right there on the figure itself. Then we get the thumbs up, of course, to point at himself or just to give Goku the thumbs up, although he was not doing that during this era of Vegeta. We have open hands right here, blasting open hands. We have our grabby hands right there, And then last but not least, we have our, I guess, martial arts posing hands is what I like to call these. Right there, and that's all your hands and accessories for this release. Alright, so remember, articulation wise, he is exactly the same as our 2.0 armored Vegeta. Exactly the same figure. So everything that figure had, this one does as well. Of course, it's the same exact figure. So with that said, let's get that figure in here and check it out side by side. Well, that doesn't seem right. That's not Vegeta, but that is a Trunks head on a Vegeta 2.0 body. But let's go ahead and get the real Vegeta here. Alright, so there you go. There is the original 2.0 Vegeta, Armored Vegeta, or Android Saga Vegeta, next to the new version of the 2.0 Vegeta. I don't want to call this a 3.0 because it's not. We like to upgrade to the next numbered 0.0 whenever it's a brand new sculpt and articulation system, like they've been changing the groin areas and all that. Whenever this groin area upgraded to the way it is and the knees did, that became the 2.0 versions of these figures. So this is still the 2.0 Vegeta. As you can see, they're the same figure, but the paint jobs is what's different here. Check it out. Very nice, man. I think I like the paint job on the new one a lot more. I mean, I just love saturated colors like that, and it looks great. Although that hair sculpt is or that hair paint I should say is better in my opinion, but they're both great. I think they're awesome, honestly. I really have no gripes with the way they both look. Alright, so since I love the hair on the old one so much, then I might as well just do a head swap, right? And they fit perfectly as they should, and they work. You know, if you want the metallic hair on the old body, then you can. It looks just as good, if you ask me. Now, the skin tones don't match. That is one thing. It looks a little bit better on this one, but this one's a little bit more drastic there. The skin tones are different, but that's something you can really overlooked since it's just the neckline right there and you're really going to look at them from the front like that. It's not as noticeable. So as you can see, the old head on the new body looks great and the new head on the old body looks great too. You can also see that the new faceplates are superior because of the added detail due to those lines that they sculpted, and something as simple as that just adds a little bit more detail to it. And side by side, it looks a little bit better than the older faceplates. And just one more look at that older head sculpt on the new body, and that just looks so good, man. I'm really liking this look since I do love the darker blue and I do love the older yellowed hair. Both of them combined is an option for you guys if you own both figures. And back to the new head sculpt on the new body as it's supposed to be. You can't go wrong with this one either. This is just an amazing release for you guys that missed out on that original release. I would be super stoked for this if I was waiting to have this one in my collection, because now is your opportunity for sure. And here he is next to Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, because why not? Another great, highly saturated figure, and it looks so gorgeous, man. These two look so good. So this is the Android Saga Vegeta, right? So we gotta get some androids in here. We have Android 17 and we have Android 18. These are the event exclusives of their releases. They are repaints, pretty much, of the original releases, just like this guy right here. And you can see here, they look pretty good together, you know? And this Vegeta is going to pair very good with Android 19, which is coming soon. And I think that's probably why they decided to re-release him as well, so he can go with Android 19. And then I just had to throw in the 1.0 Vegeta just because this was the very first armored Vegeta that we ever got. It was great for its time, believe me. Trust and believe me, but man, does it look so outdated nowadays next to what we have now. It's crazy to me. It's so crazy to me. This figure over here is well over 10 years old, and it definitely shows. I just can't believe it looks the way it looks next to our Vegeta right here. So that wraps things up on this review of the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan Vegeta Awakened Super Saiyan Blood release. So again, 2.0 re-release, 2.0 repaint, and in all its glory. It's a beautiful figure. Do not pass this up, especially for $35. You are not gonna regret it. So with that said, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and as always, everyone, take care, take it easy, and bow down to the Prince of all Saiyans. Bye.